had a crazy fan theory of my own video, if that makes
Oh,
sense.
that's funny.
But I actually thought of an idea because I had, when people started commenting on the Bloodsport trailer saying, how would that work? That doesn't make sense. Was Frank Dux real or was he not real? I had a great idea. Is it, if you had to make the Bloodsport film without Dux in it, right? Let's say it couldn't happen. Let's say it would be a roadblock to it being made. Then what you could do is you could shift trajectory. And I had this crazy idea that, imagine if the real story is that Leon from Lionheart was trained by his master, entered the Kumite, won the Kumite. He heads home to see his master, and when he arrives home, he learns that Senzo Tanaka has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's just won the Kumite. His master's passed away. His father, essentially, in a lot of ways. He's achieved his life dream and honored Shingo and his master. And now where does he go? What does he do? And so now he sort of just stumbles through life wondering what's the next challenge. And one day he starts to drink, or he starts to, I don't know if he starts to drink, but he starts to just become a guy that just languishes around. He goes to a bar one day, he speaks to this young guy, and he starts telling him, and he's talking to a girl, and this young girl is listening to this guy say, oh, I'm a special forces and I go overseas and this and that. And Leon hears this guy talking, doesn't pay much mind. But then he starts talking to this guy, and Leon realizes this guy is sort of a martial artist. I can tell he does have a military background. Some of the things he might be saying are a bit fanciful, but he does have a bit of a background. Anyway, Leon starts talking to him and tells a story about how he was trained by his master and entered the Kumite and everything that happened, and now he doesn't know how to find purpose. And this young guy he's talking to tells him about the French Foreign Legion. And Leon just says, well, I'm going to pack up everything. I'm going to go join the French Foreign Legion. I've got nothing else to go from. Mm-hmm. But then this young guy in the bar turns out that that's Frank Dux, and he tells the story of Bloodsport through his perspective as sort of like telling this guy's story. And because one thing leads to another and it actually gets made, he sort of has to roll with it now. But it sort of interjects the real world Dux with the story of Leon. And then that way, if you had to make the film, what happens is that it's a sort of a retcon where you have flashbacks to the Bloodsport film. And instead of seeing Chong Li versus Frank Dux on the board, you have Leon's name come up, and the audience realizes this is the story of Leon, but it was told through the perspective of Frank Dux. Something wild like that probably is a bit too far-fetched, but I just toying with those fan theory ideas.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Like, there's like a Facebook post or something that Frank posted. Let me pull this up because it kind of ties into what you said, man.
Well, really?
So Frank Dux did help on Lionheart, right? And he choreographed the fights, and he posted a picture. It's a picture with him and Van-Damme, Billy Blanks, and then some other dude on the set in the 1989 making of Lionheart, a fictional spin-off of my based on true event story entitled Bloodsport. So Dux is basically saying Lionheart's a spin-off of Bloodsport. But he's saying Lionheart wasn't real, unlike Bloodsport, which is real based on his life. So there is a connection there.
Well, yeah, that's very interesting, and it gets you thinking.
It does.
No, that is very interesting. Well, and to be honest with you, it makes sense, doesn't it? In a lot of ways, I think anybody that watches Bloodsport and watches Lionheart can see the parallels.
I mean, Sean Lettich wrote both of them anyway. So,
yeah. I did watch that interview that you did. That was very interesting.
Yeah, there's some cool insight he gave, man.
Yeah, that was very cool. I really enjoyed that. I did toy with the idea as well, just because I've thought of it. Now, I was going to mention earlier, toying with the idea of what it would look like to have some kind of story about Dux and Shingo, or the story of Shingo. People have left it in the comments as well. It's been a popular one as well that I've seen people saying, oh, I'd love to see a prequel. What happened to Shingo? Because you could really have a story there. Did he die in the Kumite? Was Tanaka there? Was Dux there?
People think he died in the Kumite. I read the final draft of the script, though, and I'm actually going to do a video of the difference between the film and the script. He died in a car accident, actually. It's in the script. I think I'm pretty sure there's like dialogue where they talk about that.
Yeah.
So, and I was always kind of like, did he die in the Kumite? Like, was he the guy that got kicked in the throat that Jackson talked about? You know, it's like, no, it was just car accident.
Yeah. But look, I think it's, sometimes with, I think it's great that they didn't even address it in the film.
Yeah, they didn't, because
then
it leads to, people start talking about 30 years later. It's like, whatever happened to Shingo? Going by the film, we don't really know. We just know he died.
That it's a situation where this is something that needed to happen to make sure that in the film, of course, that when it happens in this way, because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you're an expert on this, I don't think Dukes has claimed that was something that had happened, that he was basically trained because of what he was almost a proxy to his son or something. I don't think.
No, I don't think it went that far. I think he just met Senzo Tanaka apparently in California, and trained with him. Funny enough, there was a real Senzo Tanaka that did die in the early 70s. So he might have trained with the Senzo Tanaka, honestly,
I know nothing of that. Well, I'll leave that to your expert hands.
Sure.